Hi everyone and welcome to Stamp with Angela. I'm Angela Palmer and this is take 2 of my Facebook Live for today. I did do one this afternoon at 1:30, which is my usual time on a Thursday. However, it seemed to disappear and it didn't show on my Facebook page. I'm just going to check now that it is going to be working and coming up. So if you're there and watching live, please comment. Oh yes. Looks like it's coming. Great. Yes, I can see it this time. So I hope that it saves afterwards as well. So for those of you that can't be live, you get to see it as well. Excellent. All right, so welcome. And today I'm going to carry on with the theme of watercolouring for the month of July. It's World Watercolouring Month. And so I'm going to share today some techniques to do with colouring with watercolour pencils. So I've got a couple of creations and 2 different ways of colouring with watercolour pencils. One is creating the background, but similar to what I did last week, but this time it's using watercolour pencils and then obviously colouring with them as well. So I'll go over a few of the basics and we'll make some cards together as well. All right, so I'm going to turn the camera down to my desk surface area and we will start crafting. So thank you for joining us today. Feel free to ask any questions, and if you are watching later then you're also welcome to comment and ask questions and I will do my best to answer. So thank you for joining tonight. All right, here we go. I'm going to turn the camera around. All right, so watercolouring. So these are the samples that I've got today. So the first one is creating a background. So I've got a couple of variations here using the watercolours in the background, and then the other one I have used and I have coloured in the daffodil flower and used the watercolours for that. So I'll show you what we're going to use. So there's 3 main things with watercolouring that we're going to use today, and that includes obviously the watercolour pencils, which I've got here. Something to use them with, so I've got the water painters and also the cardstock and stuff that we're going to use. So I did speak about this last week, but in case you missed it, when you're using water, the best thing to use is either shimmery white cardstock, so this is A4 size, comes in 10 sheets, or the watercolor paper, which is smaller as you can see, but it is thicker, so if you're using a lot of water that is quite good. So you've got a couple of options there. So then I've got my water painters. So if I take off the lids, you'll see there are 3 sizes. So a very large, a very small, and one medium size. So today I'm going to focus on the large and the small. And just a little tip, if you're trying to unscrew them and stuff, it's the opposite way around, because they were originally from Japan, and screwing and unscrewing is kind of the opposite way to what you expect. All right, the watercolor pencils, they come in a pack. So this was the original one, and you get 13 different colors. So if you have a look here, these are the range of colors that you get, and it's a good overall color: yellows, blues, reds, greens, browns, gray, black and white. Don't know if you can see, but there is a white there too. So that gives you a good range of colors, and that's your assortment one. So that's a good base one to have. And if you like more color, then there's a second assortment pack too, giving you a few more colors. Obviously Stampin' Up colors and things, but a bit more variety. And just remember, like particularly if you're using reds and things, when you're mixing it with water, it is going to dilute it. So it's not going to be quite as, brighter red and that kind of thing when you're using them. All right, so we're going to use today the Old Olive, the Daffodil Delight for my second card. And then for my first card, I'm going to use Pumpkin Pie. I'm going to use the Rich Raspberry and the yellow as well. Okay, so we'll keep those out. All right, so these are the 2 cards I've done, and we're just a couple of variations on those. And then I have stamped it with the Dragonfly set, which is this one here, the Dragonfly Garden. So that's been around for a while, but still one that I do like. And then I've put on vellum the Dragonfly. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to use shimmery white, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just create my background. So what I did earlier when I did it for the first time was I did put something underneath because it's a bit of a roughish table to just make it a little bit softer to writing on things. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go like that in the background. Now you'll see the pencil lines and all that kind of thing, but that's fine because when you add the water, it softens it, makes it all blend together. It looks really nice. And you know, I want sort of messy edges and things because that's the effect of watercolouring. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the lighter one first. I've just got a scrap piece. I'm going to squeeze my brush on a spare bit of paper and actually get any colour out, which I've still got a bit of red in. Now we're coming out clear. And then I'm just going to wipe over it like this. So don't you love that? The way the colours just, oops, we went a bit too far there, but we'll just kind of make it look like it's meant to go. And completely different now, just lovely watercolour effect. So we'll just get that off. Now I'll go for my pumpkin pie. And I do want to kind of blend it a little bit there together. Lovely. And for my get rid of that colour, squeeze it again, bit of water out. And that last one, the rich raspberry. Oops, I've kind of flicked a couple of dots, but oh, I thought there was ink, but it's not, it's something else. Okay, there we go. So that's kind of to create my background. All right, now it is good to dry it. So you can put it aside or you can use your heat tool. So I am going to quickly do that now. Hopefully it's not too loud, just to dry it. It would be better if I don't shake it and move it lots. Doesn't take too long. Hopefully that's not too loud for you. There we go. You'll notice it might curve up a little bit, but that's okay. It's going to be flattened anyway. It does feel a little bit damp at the bottom, so I'm going to just be sure it's dry. The reason I want to make sure it's dry is because I'm going to stamp on it. Now, if I'm stamping something and then I'm going to colour afterwards, you definitely need to use Stays On ink, which is what we'll do for the second card. But because I've used all my water now, and that's it, I'm going to use Memento for my image and things. So I've got my Memento ink, and I'll find my stamp. Now, this was the first card I made, and you know, we always learn from these things. So a couple of things. I didn't mean to have such a large border. I kind of cut my inside piece a little bit too small, but that's okay. And then when I stamped this, I got an edge from the stamp, which was really annoying. So that's why I put the sentiment over the top to hide that. I really wanted to just stamp straight on it. And this one I did, and that worked fine. And then this one I've added the twine on. So, you know, sometimes things don't quite go according to plan, but we still make use of it and can come up with some nice creations. So this is quite a big stamp. And it's curling a bit, but we'll go, hopefully. So I want to press it firmly enough, but not the bottom of the stamp. Good. I didn't get the extra bit there. All right, we learn from these things and we try not to do them again. I'm going to have a go at just stamping thank you directly on. If I do mess it up, well then I can put something over the top. So let's have a go with thank you. Not quite so dark, but that's okay. Very good. All right, so this time for something a little bit different, rather than the yellow, I thought I would try the rich raspberry around the edge, but I do want to put a bit of the black twine on, so we will do that next as long as I can find it in my tape. I put everything away and then realized that it wasn't working, so I had to get everything out again. All right, looks like some of you are viewing. I haven't seen any comments, so I hope it is still going live. I'm just going to check on my computer again that it's still showing. So appreciate, yes it is, great. Okay, yes, usually I kind of check the video straight away, but being school holidays and other things to do, I kind of came back to it later and then realized that the video wasn't there. So I don't know if it was Facebook or something I did, but anyway, we get to create it all again. We've got an extra sample to look at now. Okay, here we go. So if you're not sure if you've seen me do this before, but start one side. I like to be economical with my twine and things. Go back across rather than wind it round and round. We're not wasting lots on the back. Third time, odd numbers are good. Find my ribbon scissors, so the ones with the red on them I use for ribbon and twine and things, and that way, because if I use it for paper then it won't cut my ribbon and things nicely later. Okay, glue. You might like tape or you might like glue. We'll use tape for now. Sorry, glue for now. Now I did have this. Oh, yeah, we are working. That's good. All right. Here we go. Okay, then I'm going to just tie a little bow on as well. So I'll just estimate how much I need. And then we'll put it on our card base. But then, of course, we need our dragonfly as well. All right, so appreciate you taking the time to watch me tonight. I know it's a little bit different, me doing it in the evening. And usually I can't because during term time, it's very busy with running around with my kids after school with dance lessons and things. So that's why I've been doing it during the day. But today's one didn't record for some reason. I thank you, Jean. Glad that this is inspiring you. There you go. So you could just leave it like that. That would be quite nice too. But let me show you how I did the dragonfly. So I've got my dragonfly stamp here. Now, because I'm using a vellum, I'm going to use Stays On because it's quite sort of slippery and then you touch it and it will take ages to dry or maybe possibly not dry. So that's why I'm using Stays On. But if you use Stays On, make sure you've got your cleaner handy as well because you do need to clean it. You won't be able to just wipe it off with the usual stamping mist. It won't come off because it is a permanent marker. Ink. All right. Now with the punch, which I've just realized I have put away and not brought back out again, I will have to go and get it. It has a dragonfly here and a little one above. So I've cut a strip so that I can punch it out. All right. So bear with me for hopefully a few seconds while I grab my punch. All right, I'm back with my punch. So yeah, I thought I'd got everything out, but of course there's one thing you miss. Here we go. So this is what I meant with the other dragonfly up the top. So this is so cool. So you could stamp on cardstock, but vellum is quite cool. All right. What I did with the dragonfly was I just folded the little wings up. And you do have to be careful with vellum, with glue, because you might see through. But with this one, because it's stamped black anyway, and I'm just putting glue in that body part, you won't really see it. So stick it down and then the wings kind of pop up a little bit. And then my card base, you could go for a different colour. Could be black if you wanted, but I've gone for white to make it kind of stand out. Let me grab my bone folder and just crease that a little bit more. There we go. And adhere it. Oops, everything's going a bit lopsided. There we go. So a simple idea, but yeah, your watercolor pencils can create some wonderful backgrounds, and I'd love to see what other color combinations you use. You could use more greens or blues or neutrals or all sorts of different things. So there you go. Now to finish it off, you could leave it like that. This one, I've put some little clear dots on it. I think they're the iridescent ones. This one I haven't. Or you could maybe do, because I've used a bit of black, some black spots on it too. So I'll use my, let's try that for something different, because we're sort of tying in, I'm not quite sure where to put them. There we go. Got a bit of black. And I'll just go for the small, I think. I don't know, you may or may like that may like that, you may not, but just a few variations. So here we go. This is what they look like. So you can see what it looks like with the larger border, and I've added an embellishment, not embellishment, well I have added embellishments, but I've added the sentiment on the top. These ones stamped directly on the card, and then these ones have got twine, and each of them have got my vellum dragonfly. So with this stamp, because it's got stays on it, I do need to clean it. So if you have what do you call them, paper towels and stuff, that is useful. So I don't like to use it with stays on my stamping scrub, because I don't want to put stays on cleaner on my other stamps. So just wipe it all over, get a paper towel, get all the oops, we're shaking the table, take all the stays on off. Then I would probably still use my stamping mist and give that a little spray, and then I don't want to spray my cards, give it another clean with my stamping mist, can't get my words out, my stamping scrub, just to, you know, clean it after that. All right, but I'll just put that aside for now. Okay, so that was card number 1. So that's using watercolor pencils, my water painters, to create the background. You can do all sorts of patterns and things. You could have, you know, one big image in the front. You don't need to add extra things, but you know, you can. All right, so for the second card, we are going to make this one here, which involves some colouring. Okay, so the stamp set that I am using is the Daffodil Dream, but you can use any stamp set that you've got that involves some colouring, and there's lots of them out there. Okay, so this one here, I'm going to use my Stamparatus to stamp it. And then the background, I don't know if you can tell, but I have embossed it. I've used the Time War Type 3D embossing folder. Now the first one I did was this one, and it's actually white, basic white cardstock. The second one I did is actually the shimmery white, which is a slight off-white, and it's got a bit of a sparkle too, but probably hard for you to see in this kind of light. And when I stamped my flowers, because I'm using watercolors, I did that on shimmery white as well. All right, so let me bring over my Stamparatus, and I'm actually going to put the stamp set here. So when I do that and I ink it up, I've got something to push it against, so I can put a bit more pressure on it, and it's not kind of sloping downwards. So the Stays On has got a cover on it. You do want to try and keep it, you know, as airtight as you can. So this will tend to dry out a bit more than the other stamps, so I do find I have to ink it up. So it is useful to have both the cleaner and the ink refill. All right, now the good thing with the Stamparatus, if there's any areas where it's not quite dark enough, I can go back over. That's pretty good. So remember, I'm using shimmery white and Stays On because I'm going to use it with water, and if I use other inks, then they're going to blend with the water too. Now I'll clean that off later with my Stays On, but just for the sake of time, we will do this now. All right, I'll bring back my piece of scrap there. So what I'm going to do is use my smaller tip water painter this time, and whoops-a-daisy, when I'm doing my colouring, I'm going to I'll do the leaves first. You don't have to be perfect with your colouring, you just need to put the colour in the area where these leaves are, and then we'll blend it with the water, and it will soften it. Instead of seeing pencil lines, we will see some lovely colour. So let me just show you this. I think that's most of the, oh, we missed a bit there. And of course, if you press darker and have more pencil, then it's going to be a darker colour. So let's just get it water glowing, but we don't want a blob of it, and very delicately colour it in, trying our best to keep within the lines. Quite therapeutic, really. But you do need, particularly for this set, the thinner brush, so we can keep within our lines. Right, so you get the idea. Oh, now I didn't put some pencil in there, so we'll just go back and add that. And I guess if it's not dark enough, well then you can go back with a bit more colour and add it. But you get the idea. Now the other thing you can use, which I need to get some more of, is blender pens. Now they come in packs of 3 and they have their own liquid already in them, and you don't have to use shimmery white because it's not as wet, as it were, as other inks and things. And you can colour with the water painters with those too. Sorry, with the water pencils with these. All right, then I'm going to go and do my yellow, and I'm quite messy with my colouring. I'm not trying to make it, you know, right to the edges and perfect, because it's just putting the colour on there, and then I'm going to blend it with my, whoops, try not to go over the lines though, being a little bit quicker than I normally would, because just for the sake of time. All right, do make sure we've got all our green colour out, maybe squeeze it again just to get that water flowing, and then colour it. Now with the daffodil dream set, there are dies, and there is a die to cut this out, which is very handy. I mean, if you don't, you could easily fussy cut it, or you could stamp it on a shape and just leave it as is. But this one is one that's designed to cut out, which is quite handy. So I'm just very carefully colouring it so you get the idea. And you could go back with a bit more colour if you wanted. If you need to work quickly, then like I did before, whoops, use your heat tool and colour it. So there you go. Don't know how well you can kind of see that. So if you have the die, you will cut it out and you'll get one like this. So this is dried and cut out, ready to go, just for the sake of time for this video. All right, so to do the next part of my card, I have also pre-done, let's put a card here so you can see what I'm doing, pre-embossed this with that folder I mentioned before, and I'm going to sponge it. You could leave it, let's have a look, you know, as is, or you could tone it down a little bit with a bit of sponging. So I'm going to use my old olive and my blending brush, and away I go. So I start off the page because I don't want, just very lightly, you can cover the whole thing, around the edges, whatever you like, but just kind of adds a bit of colour, softens it a little bit. So this is very vanilla, no sorry it's not, it's shimmery white, let me get that right, shimmery white paper, so it's got that slight sparkle in it as well. I like that, wonderful. Now you'll see that I've got black either side, that just helps it pop from the card. So this is what it would look like normally, okay, but just by adding a little strip of black to each side, it just, you know, really adds to the card. So you can see the difference of this side compared to that. Obviously I don't want it quite that wide, just a narrow. So you could have a whole piece, but then that's a waste. So I'm trying to be economical here. So just put my glue down and put that on, turn it over, and then adjust it of how thick I want it. Not too wide at all, just a little, try and get it even all the way down. If it's not quite, it's hanging over the edge of it, that's all right, we can trim it later. Let's do the other side. Whoops, oh dear, that's all right, we're going to be adhering over that anyway. And the other side, try and match them up for the width. And then with my, not ribbon scissors, but my other scissors, I'll just trim that off. And that one looks pretty good. Okay, I've already got a bit of glue there already. Now you need to look at this carefully and make sure that it's up the right way. You could put ribbon around it if you wanted, and if so, you'd need to do that now before you put, not ribbon, but twine or something, you'd need to do that before you put it on the card front. So let's arrange that. There we go. And then with this, I'm going to get some dimensionals. Mini ones are quite good for this. So let's put a few of these on and put on our daffodil. Oops, I don't want it right on the edge. We don't want to see it. One more, except I've got two there for some reason. We'll do two then. Okay, and then I'll take off my highlighted So I've highlighted the top so I can tell if I have taken off the backing or not, rather than have to touch them and they be sticky. So do any of you have watercolor pencils already? It's a nice way to watercolor. So there we go. Probably needs to go a little bit straighter. Can we adjust it slightly? Whoops, dimensional's gone. There we go. All right, so thank you Glenys and Gail and Jean who were joining us tonight. Great to see you. Here we go. Right, so now for our sentiment. So on a small piece, I'm going to use shimmery white again so that it all matches. I don't have to use stays on this time because I'm not going to watercolor or anything. I'm just going to stamp. So I'm doing another thank you. I like lots of thank you cards to thank my customers and things. All right, now a little trick with the punch, which also I need to grab. Bear with me for 1 second while I reach over and grab the other punch. Like I said, I had to redo this Facebook Live and I put everything away, so I'm just going to grab the other punch. 1 second. Actually, it was beside me all along. Here it is. Okay, so it's this one here, which is the Label Me Fancy Punch. So, gonna straighten that up and punch it out. Great thing is if you stamp it wonky, you can line it up when you cut it out. Then I'm going to get a small piece of basic black cardstock and cut out another one. Oh, let's go that way, so we're a bit more economical. All right, and we're going to cut it in half, like so. And guess what? We're going to, glue the edges again, so top and bottom. So we glued the edges of this, now we're going to glue the edges of our sentiment. We're nearly all done, so thank you for watching tonight and sticking with me. So we've done that like so, and the bottom. And I hope this inspires you with using watercolor pencils, or even if you don't have watercolor pencils, maybe the card layout is something that you might like to try. All right, there we go. So we're going to put that on our card and then add a little bit of black twine. So add my dimensionals. So since I've got mini ones, we'll put 4 on. And you could also add some other embellishments. So I'll show you my other card again. You can add some embellishments. The black looks quite good on this because we've used black in a few different places. So try and get it straight. There we go. So here's the other one with my black dots. So here is a bow, hopefully. And then we need a glue dot to put it on with. Always harder to do when you're on video. And it twists and goes its own way. Alright, might have to fix it up later, but you get the general idea, hopefully. Very good. Alright, nearly done. And I'll just go over a couple of things that are happening around at the moment, right at the end. So glue dots are great for this kind of thing. There's one. You could put it on the sentiment or put it on the flower. I'll fiddle with that later to make it look a bit better. That's not too bad. Okay, and back to my black dots again. All right. These black dots are great if you are using the ladybug. You want black dots on its back. These are very cool for that. All right, there we go. So here are my 2 cards. Well, this is my second card and 3 variations of it. And our first card with the watercolour background with our watercolour pencil. There we go. So those ones are a bit different because of the different colour borders and things. Which one do you like? I quite like this one because it's quite a striking background colour. And with these ones, it's quite, they're similar, but each got, you know, slightly different, like all our handmade cards. They're all unique. So thank you for watching today. I hope you've learnt some new things, particularly with using watercolour pencils and using water painters, and remembering to use shimmery white or the watercolour paper. If you haven't seen it, the mini catalogue is now out. This is the July to December one. The annual catalogue is obviously still going, which is where some of those things are from, but the mini catalogue is out. If you haven't received a catalogue and you would like one and you don't have another demonstrator, please get in touch with me. And also for July and August, we have celebration. So there's a few ways you can benefit. One of the main ones being if you purchase product, then you can get some products for free. So spend $110 and you can choose a stamp set or the dies or papers and other things, even card sets and things. There's some products that are a bit more involved, so you spend $220, you get those for free. And also there's a paper and stamp set pack for $200 if you spend $220. And a host reward, so if you host, get others to order with you, you can get a free stamp set if the orders are $575 or more. And if you decide to join up, anytime's a great time to join up as a demonstrator, and I'd love for you to join my team. If you join up during July and August, you can get this wonderful planner kit. There's a folder and all sorts of stamp set and other bits and pieces, so you can be organised, which is really cool. So if you've got any questions about any of these things, or if you'd like a copy of the catalogues and you don't have a demonstrator already, please get in touch with me. I'd love to help you. So thank you for your time tonight. We will try for next Thursday. Hope the Facebook Live goes well. It is holidays, so I'm not sure what time I will be doing a Facebook Live. It may be in the morning, or I might just do it in the evening again for holidays. I will keep you posted. So thanks for watching today, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.